Arne Slot has just finished his press conference ahead of a must-win game for Liverpool against Chelsea in the Premier League. 2 losses on the bounce for the Reds. We can't go into the international break losing 3 in a row. A must-win game at Stamford Bridge, a ground we haven't won at in 5 seasons, I believe. It is absolutely massive. Like I said, Arne Slot has just finished his press conference. He spoke about Alisson's injury, gave an update on Hugo Ekitike and Federico Chiesa. He spoke about Alexander Isak settling into the squad, spoke about Dominic Soboslai and much more. We're going to jump straight into it now, have a look through all the quotes. Please do let me know in the comments below your thoughts on everything the manager has said. Give us your score prediction and starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's game against Chelsea. Like I said, it is a must-win game. We simply have to get 3 points. We can't afford to drop any points. A draw is not enough. We need to win. We will start with the injuries then. So he was asked about Alisson Becker and he said, Alisson is not part of the squad tomorrow. Hugo will train again today and the same for Federico. We will see then. And he was asked about a time frame for Alisson. He said, depends how fast recovery goes. I'd be surprised if he's ready for first game after the international break. And of course, last night we did see a report from David Ornstein saying he'll be out for maybe around 6 weeks. We're expecting him not to be back before the November international break, which would mean he would miss the likes of Real Madrid, Man City, Man United, and of course Chelsea this weekend. Like, they're huge games for him to be missing. Although we do have Mamardashvili there ready to come in. Arne Slot was asked about him as well. He said, we knew we were bringing in a very good goalkeeper. When he plays his first game, it's the best way of seeing if he's adjusted well or not. And we've seen against Southampton he adjusted really well to our club, which isn't a surprise as he is a quality goalkeeper. Now he can do what Queeve has had to do so many times in the past by replacing Ali. One of the journalists then kind of asked him, like, is there a concern around Alisson? Like, the fact he's picking up so many injuries, he was kind of asking, like, is this the same injury he had last season? Is there a concern long term? To which Arne then said, concern over Ali, I'm not a doctor so I can't tell you if it's every time the same. I'm mainly interested in how long it's going to take and there are other people in the club who can give you a better answer. So yeah, like, it is a bit uncertain. I can't see him back anytime soon. Arne himself said he can't see him back after this international break, so a spell on the sidelines I think is what we're looking for Alisson. And this got me thinking though, is there a world where we have seen the end of Alisson Becker being Liverpool's first choice goalkeeper? Like, if he is going to be picking up these injuries every season, Arne did sound a little bit frustrated with this. Like, you can tell he was talking about, like, just saying, like, Queeveen came in so many times, like, before. He was just kind of making reference to the amount of games that Alisson does miss. And there was reports when Mamardashvili was being brought in that he wasn't coming here to be the deputy. He wasn't coming here to sit on the bench. Like, he was here to take that number one spot and make it his own. So I'm absolutely intrigued now. Like, if Mamardashvili plays well for the next whatever 10, 12 games he's going to be in for, like, is there a world where he is then number one? Like, I'd be fascinated to see. I think Alisson probably will come back in, but I think we are getting to the point now in the next 6 months or a year that we could potentially see a swap over here. We could see Mamardashvili kind of nail down that starting spot if he does well. So fascinated to see on that one. I have all faith in him that he'll do well in these games. I'm not worried about it at all. I think he's going to be a fantastic goalkeeper first. So obviously don't want Alisson on the sidelines, but thank God we have one of the best second choice goalkeepers in the world. Just to go back slightly then, of course, Arne did say that Hugo and Federico will be in training today and there'll be a final decision made on them then. To the best of our understanding, Hugo Ekitike just suffered a cramp. That's what he was saying to the journalist in the mix zone after the last game. So hopefully he should be good to start, or like good to play 60 minutes at least. Federico is a different one. We don't know like the extent of what that injury was during the week. Arne said it was a little niggle, so maybe it was just a little bit of a twinge in the muscle. He said, right, we'll leave him at home. We won't risk him when he is coming back to fitness. So I'm sure we will hear more on that as the day goes on. I would expect Isak will probably start this game, so I don't know if Ekitike starts on the left end possibly, or if he starts at all. Whether Chiesa starts on the left is another thing. I would, if he is fit, I would start him ahead of Gakpo at this stage, but that's down to the manager. I'll trust in his judgment. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that one over the course of the day. I'm sure we'll hear more on that. So many quotes to go through here. I don't know where to go next. I think we'll go to Mo Salah next. So he was asked kind of about his form, and he kind of gave an explanation on like not just Salah, but maybe part of why Liverpool are struggling up front. So he said, Salah is a part of a team that faces different opposition than the first half of last season. If you compare how we won the away game against United, where they tried to play out from the back, and at home when Onana just kept going long, that's what has changed. We don't score as many open play goals as we did first part of last season, and something we work on very hard. The more we play under the new setup, the better it will go. We still struggle a bit to find enough goals from open play. So that is an interesting insight from Arne there on that. Like, he kept making reference in that press conference to like the first half of last season and the second half of the season, and saying like the start of the season has been more like the second half of last season in regards to teams might have played a little bit more openly against Liverpool last season when Slot had just come in. They were thinking, right, Jurgen is gone, maybe this is our chance to actually finally attack Liverpool. But then when it became clear that Liverpool were a very good team still and Slot had settled in straight away, they started to play a little bit more on the back foot and kind of low blocks more often. I know Arne spoke about low blocks a lot recently, and he seems to he seems to think any team that defends is a low block, but you know what I mean? Like, he does keep making reference to this, and I did find that interesting, like the fact he's saying if teams aren't playing out from the back as much, we can't really prey on that to counter press and make them make the mistakes and then score the goals. Like, it definitely will be a contributing factor to why the likes of Mo Salah, Isak in the last game, like these players, they aren't getting on the ball as much as they would like to. A lot of that comes down to our own play as well, to be fair. Like, we do seem to just pass around the back an awful lot the last few weeks, but it is a contributing factor. Like, if they are just going long, the ball isn't staying up in that part of the pitch as much, which will obviously contribute to that as well. So I thought that was interesting from Arne. Please do let me know in the comments what you think on that one. Please do let me know in the comments what you think on that. Like, he kind of glossed over the question about Salah. He was kind of asked, like, is he not on top form? And he kind of gave a more generic answer on the front line. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, because I thought that was a fair point. In fairness, that like that will definitely be a contributing factor as to why the forwards aren't getting the ball as much. On top of that, Arne has been making reference to set pieces an awful lot in the last few press conferences. I know we've had our struggles conceding goals from set pieces recently, mainly from individual errors more so than anything else. But the manager does seem to be putting a lot of emphasis on that recently in both ends. Like, he was again talking about low blocks, saying that set pieces can be a way to open them up and do, which is true of course, but we shouldn't be relying on that. And I think he said that himself, like he should, like he was even talking about the goals we conceded from set pieces, saying like, well, if we had scored one or two of the others then we'd still win, but we can't be relying on that. Like, he was aware of the fact that we're not playing to the level that we should be putting these games to bed early and not be relying on a set piece goal or conceding one goal completely changing the game. We should be putting these teams out of sight early in the game, or at least like just scoring more goals than we are. This ties in with Alexander Isak then. So the manager was asked, like, how is he settling in? He's had 5 appearances so far, scored 1 goal. Arne said, I said to him, the difficult thing is you will have your appearances, but if you add minutes together, it probably won't be more than 90 minutes so far. That's what we inherited from his situation at Newcastle. We knew this before, so it's not an excuse. Main thing is he has to adjust to his teammates and they have to adjust to him. He had a great counter moment against Palace, but the midfield didn't see it. These are the things that they have to work on, but that's been harder than last season because of Alexander, Alexis, Conor and playing Dom. I think what he's making reference there is something we've discussed on the channel as well, is like, with this amount of changes and a slightly different system, like there are going to be the patterns of play, the relationships on the pitch. These are very important things. Like, you have to build up that kind of understanding with other players. Like, again, Mo spoke about this with Hugo and Darwin, saying like he kind of knew where they would be, and obviously they're still going to be trying to figure that out with the new players. And on top of that, like, was something I was thinking about yesterday, Liverpool don't really have a starting 11 this season. I think that doesn't help. Like, if you think back to last season, it was always like, right, no matter if it's a big game, it's Robertson and Trent at fullback, Kanate and Van Dijk with Alisson behind. It's just like, that is the 5. And then you have a midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai is always going to be the same. And then you have probably Salah, Gakpo and Diaz, or Salah, Gakpo and Jota up front at the time. You think back to other teams that we had then, it was always like Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson. It was Mane, Salah, Firmino. There was always these rock solid lines in a team that we would have, and they would be there 90% of the time. Obviously, like, if you have your starting 11, it's not going to be the same every week, but if you can have your 8 or 9 reliables, or them partnerships that are building up over 30, 40, 50 games a season, obviously you're on a different wavelength then compared to when you bring in new lads. So I think it will take time, of course. They will need to get up to speed with each other, but it's no excuse. Like, we should be playing better than we are. But I thought it was just an interesting talking point to bring up, that like, we don't really definitively have a backline this season. We don't definitively have a midfield this season. We don't even have a definitive top 3 or front 3 this season. It's just, there's too many question marks around the starting 11 for me. And I think the quicker we figure out what our best team is, the quicker we can start to build up these relationships and get into the rhythm of things. Arne was then asked about Ibrahima Konate's form and a little bit on the contract. He kind of dodged the contract question, in all honesty. Like, he wasn't blatantly asked outright what's happening with the contract, but reference was made to the fact that his contract situation is rumbling on, and he kind of glossed over it. But he said, if you lose like we did versus Galatasaray and Palace, it doesn't help if you lose the ball easily. He has been one of them, but not the only one. It happened to him once in both games. If you lose, then there's so much more focus on that moment, and then 90 minutes is very poor, but I don't analyse the game like that. But in the last 2 games, it has been obvious and clear we have made a few errors we're not used to. If you do things people aren't used to and you lose, normally the manager gets criticised. That last sentence is interesting. Like, I can't really tell if he's trying to put the blame onto the players or if he's just kind of hitting back at some of the criticism he has gotten recently, because, like, the system has come under a lot of pressure, and of course that is right to be done when we aren't playing well. And obviously something isn't working. Like, there's no way he sends out 11 players of that quality onto the pitch and every single one of them just has a bad day at the office. Systematically something is wrong. But it is a fair point as well for Arne to point out the fact that players are making individual errors. Like, that does not help. Let's say, like, Gravenberch defending that set piece, headed it straight down to the player to put in. Endo done the same the week before. Kanate giving the ball away. I think it was early in the season he made reference to, I think it was Salah or Szoboszlai kind of passed the ball, lost the ball up at the other team's goal, and they countered and scored. It was just like, he does seem to be putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that, like, individual players are making mistakes, and, like, a systematic thing can't really account for an individual error in that sense. But then, obviously, we're leaving ourselves too open. Like, fair enough, like, if Salah is trying to play a ball through and it gets intercepted and they counter, fair enough, Salah has given the ball away, but obviously the system has left us open at the back by doing that. Like, Gravenberch this season, for instance, has been given a lot more license to go forward, but then that leaves us exposed at the back. So if we do have one pass that goes awry, they're straight in on us. Like, it shouldn't be as easy as one pass to go through our entire team either. So I get what Arne is trying to say, but you can't put all the blame onto individual errors. Like, there obviously is something wrong with the system. Not saying it has to be radically changed or anything, but there definitely is a tweak or two that has to be made, along with letting the players kind of build up those relationships like we were speaking about. That was the majority of what Arne was speaking about anyway. He did make reference as well. He was kind of asked about, like, why Szoboszlai is playing right back as much, and if Conor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong are a bit disappointed in their lack of playing time. And he kind of just said that the two lads were coming back from injuries, and Szoboszlai has played there more just because they're not really fit enough to play 3 games a week, which is fair enough as well. Like, obviously, like, it is going to take a lot to get back to that level of fitness. But I think that's a little bit of a cop-out. I think he just doesn't really trust either of them in the system just yet, or he doesn't really fully know which one he wants to go with for the main part. So I'd be interested to see how that one develops over the next few weeks and next few months, just to see, like, who will be our starting right back. Because I've tried to figure it out myself. Like, I don't want Szoboszlai there. I think he has been the best of the 3 so far this season there, but I think he's wasted there. So I will be going back to Conor Bradley or Jeremy Frimpong. So please do let me know in the comments below which one you would pick out of those. I'd probably edge towards Bradley at this point, just for going back to basics, going back to what we know, and just settling in for another few weeks. But please do let me know in the comments below what you think on that one. That's all from me anyway. Craig will be back in the afternoon to discuss all this as well, I'm sure. Like, there was a few interesting quotes in there, so I'll be interested to hear his take on everything. Please do hit the subscribe button before you head out, hit the like button and all that, and I will see you very soon. Thanks very much for watching.